Hello everybody and welcome back to the Gaming Geezer 1965. We're back with another video on a game on the Commodore 64. And this time it's going to be Commando SE. I think it stands for Special Edition, but to me this is just Commando Arcade. Yesterday I've been playing Capcom Arcade Gallery and I thought I want to play through the whole version of the original arcade version. I did it in two ways. The honest way, like just using the settings, make it a bit more easy, but I also downloaded as an extra the Invincible cheat. So first I did it on the honest way and then I used the cheat to just check the visuals of the games. I could actually get pretty far in the arcade version when you put it on easy and as simple as possible, but it was still very tough because of the amount of enemies and bullets flying around. You have to actually pay attention to so much directions and so the gameplay feels a bit different than what I'm used to. And then I suddenly thought, hey, wait a minute. I recently downloaded Sonic, the new version of Ghosts and Goblins, and Commando. But I kind of forgot to make the Commando video. And that's what we're doing today. Let's see what Commando brings to the table. I know a few things already, but let's just figure it out all underway in the game. I go a bit back so I have a bit space to move. And as you can see, you can actually use the menu again, you can use some documents again. But let's immediately dive into the game. And it's actually dedicated to somebody. And as you can see, we got some cheats here. Well, I do not want to use the invincibility, but I do want to have infinite lives. I leave everything else alone. I don't want to level skip at the beginning. If I can't get far enough, because this version is also very tough, I still want to be able to show you the stages so I can see and notice the difference between the original arcade version and this version. But so far my gut feeling says this is a good one. So let's just go back to start game. And new graphics, yes, of course. Hold fire for grenade. Oh, so I cannot use the... That's actually a good idea. So I can't use my, my rapid fire function, but it makes throwing grenades easier than leaning forwards and tapping the space bar. So let's just do this. I remember that you can also change the music. And I guess we're now playing with the regular music, but I don't hear too much. I almost wanted to walk under that. Yes, the rapid fire was off. Oh man, that was close. I'm so greedy that I want to grab these grenades that I almost walk into the line of fire. Yes, I got my bonus and I'm dead. At first I thought maybe I have the cheat still on, that I misjudged the settings, but no, we're dying plenty. And somehow this new version feels like they are using a lot more sprites than the original Commodore 64 version. And also, what I do notice is, except for dying, that the sprites aren't flashing too much, like half of the body disappearing, things like that. But I need to focus now to see if I can actually... Man! But I kind of forgot, if you have unlimited life, you cannot die, and then I cannot get to the menu, and I can't show you the full game. So what I'm gonna do is, let's just restart. But now we'll just set everything on, because otherwise I might push through, but the video will take too long. So let's just start. And I heard the famous tune from Rob Hubbard. I also listened to the original music, I must be honest. But I still prefer the original song. Yeah, to me, that is just Commando. So this time we say invincibility, yes. I will still try to avoid so it looks like gameplay, but I know I will not die. And starting level we stay the same. Key for level skip, yes. Reset high scores, no, I don't have a recorded high score if my memory serves me well. Press space to change the sound. New sound fix. New music plus sound fix. So you can, with the space bar, CV64 music plus sound fix. That's nice. So we'll stick to the original Commodore 64 music with the sound fix. Fire to start. This is already new, that the helicopter is dropping you off. And well, you could already see, at the beginning I could quite easily walk through this part. Yeah, now I went through that soldier, but... Yeah, now the music is dropping out on certain sound effects. But I remember also having sound effects on the original version. What I'm already noticing is how they draw the grenade is different. And like I said in the previous run where the chief wasn't active, that you do not get too much flashing around anymore. This is also new, with the animation even added to it. And it's fun to see this, because yesterday you almost get to see the same graphics from the arcade versions. Version I mean. But to be honest, I must say that the design of the bike and the car is far off. But I can't blame them, because yeah, bigger sprite might give you more problems with the flashing again. So you can clearly see that they had a proper design choice to make the game function the way it should function. Instead of trying to 100% the arcade, you get a playable version, more difficult because of the amount of sprites that they can throw on screen. It looks like it's more busy than the original version, but yeah, it's amazing. And also what I want to tell you during gameplay is, today I also tried, how do you say, I don't want to talk down on that game, but Who Dare Wins. Man, that was a clone if I ever saw one. And it's fun to see that they actually, for instance, you could also throw the grenades diagonal. So not only straight in front of you. So they added in the controls. What I disliked about that game was that the movement of the soldiers, that was so erratic, even much more so than in this game. So it's much more difficult to get a feeling on where to move or how to avoid them. And yes, of course, it was a copy, so You also had the possibility to cheat, just like I do now. Oh, I thought I was already ready, but look, there's a few. Man, the amount of sprites that they can draw. These guys, they made an awesome job. And just like with Ghosts and Goblins, this game is so much better for it. Well, except for me then, the gameplay. Because to be honest, to me, I was never so good at the original arcade version. And that meant I couldn't see the end of the game unless I was willing to throw in so much money in that game. And I was never about to do that. So I actually, in the arcade, never saw the end of that game. So that's why I appreciated the Commodore 64 version, the very first version, so much more. And this is a very good, it's not even proof of concept. This is proof that the Commodore 64 can actually do arcade difficulty and arcade feeling game instead of... At first I thought that the limit, the sprite limit, was helping the gameplay because there's not too much to look where you have to run for a space where you can actually stand safe, or where you can stand still safely, but you know what I mean. You got much more space on the screen to move without dying. Except for at that end door, when the door opens and the floodgates come open and all these soldiers come in to try and kill you. And this second run, also amazing. And here you will see, of course, the limited amount of colors compared to the original arcade. But this, we've always knew this from the Commodore 64. Still, after all these years playing the original, and then I'm talking about the original Commodore 64 version, even though this isn't the same game, I still get that same nostalgic feeling. And yes, of course, it has to do also with the Rob Hubbard soundtrack play. Yes, they at least give you the chance to still walk around that stone. I thought there wasn't enough space. But I guess since sprites aren't three-dimensional, my big fat soldier was still fitting between that very narrow passage. I would have gone stuck in on that stone with so little amount of moving space. And in this version, they enter the room or the space where they want to fight me, and they immediately start chucking grenades at me. So yeah, you get a lot more to avoid here. And also the Commodore version, you only need one grenade to demolish this turret. Oh, never mind. You have to throw on the proper space, but I guess I walked too far. No, I could still do it. But in the arcade version, you actually need, let me see. I guess it was either 2 or 3. You need to have 2 or 3 hits before the turret is actually completely demolished. So the first grenade gave a cracked roof, and yes, it was 2 because the second grenade completely blew the building down, and then it was safe to walk past the stream of grenades, or the lack thereof, because there were no more grenades. And since I got my volume down way low, what I noticed from my joystick, the Arcade R, is that the fire button is very noisy. But as long as it lasts, as long as my other joysticks, you will not hear me complain, because man, the gameplay, how the stick feels. If you've seen my video where I compare 3 joysticks with each other, you'll know that this is by far my favorite. I love the way how they changed how you throw the grenades. Man, no more pressing the space bar. The only thing is, at that moment when you're holding the button, you're not shooting anymore. So when you're walking right straight towards one of these barracks and somebody comes out, oops, you might be hit. Now I'm playing with the cheats, of course I'm not hit, but... Oh, I walked too far, I can't kill that red guy anymore. Is this a half car or is this supposed to be like this? Let's see if we can kill... Yes, we can kill the shooters. You also saw that in Who Dare Wins. When you get to the doors, they are much smaller, but except for that, you also get a guy that's worth more points. He's red, but it doesn't show that you got 2,000 points for killing him. And also you need to be really quick, because when he comes out of the door, it only lasts a few seconds, one or two, before he's actually already moved off the screen again. And if we finish this one, we have seen the full game. But it's nice that in this second run you get way more waves of enemies and a different layout of the terrain, as if you're really in a completely new enemy base. Can we just do it? Yes, we can do it like this. What I did like about Who Dare Wins is that you can actually shoot down the bikers as well. And it's gone. They are all dead. So yes, somehow I still prefer the Commodore 64 version over the arcade. I think it also has to do with the memory of it, especially for back in the day. Let's just let the music run and do the outro. So back in the day, of course, the time when I was so proud of my machine, I don't look upon the Commodore 64 anymore the way I did in the past, because in the past it was the limit of what a home computer could do. And now it's a gateway to the past, but it's definitely technology-wise, even a phone is much more impressive. But a phone is less fun to play on than on a Commodore 64. Well, at least for me, because of the memory, but also even games that I never actually could have the chance to try, you can actually play on this. Games that were never released, like Sonic, which I showed you, the complete version of Ghosts and Goblins, which I never had at the time that my original Commodore 64 was still alive. And even though I don't know if my Commodore 64C is still alive, but the last time I played it, it worked. But since it's now 44 years old, I do not dare to turn it on again because of the power supply. I just know that they turn bad and give too much power. And then it's a guarantee that it will be broken. So since I put it away working, I wanted to keep it as it. Even though I'm not using it anymore, because I have this, and by the end of the year I have actually the same as this, but then in the shape of the Commodore 64C. And then I will move the SID chips in the newer version, and this will be like a showcase for on display, and my Commodore 64C Ultimate will be my daily driver, so to speak, for gaming. And why? Because I prefer typing on that newer model keyboard. And I also hope they made a change to how the keys respond, because I love this one but I even prefer the feel of my C64C keyboard. So if they also adapted this, I'm even more happy than only because of how the shape of the computer makes you a bit more comfortable typing on it. Well, that was it. So, well, you could already hear on the comments I gave during gameplay. What do I think of this conversion? All I can say to the team is thumbs up. This is an amazing conversion. It's more difficult, so for the better gamers than me, this will be a blessing. For me, gameplay wise, if I want to play Commando, I would still reach out for the original one. Because as you could also see in the second run, they've changed the layout, but a lot of the graphics, they were the same. So it doesn't matter that the Commodore 64 loops and loops the same tracks all over again. So yes, you are missing the new layout, but do I really mind? No, actually it gives me, in this version, in the original version, I actually want to play without cheats. And in this version, I'll start without cheats and you can see that I can get through the first part of the stage pretty easy. I was lucky there too, of course, but you can clearly see that I had a feel for it, and then you can come at the end and the way that these waves come upon you, it's way more different than the original, and then my muscle memory is working against me instead of working with me to make me a better gamer. But that's all that I have to say for today. Did you ever try this new version? Because this is not new anymore. For me it is, but it's not new. Did you play it? What version do you prefer? And do you also have a different choice, or are you a better gamer and you like the extra hardness that this new version of Commando gives? Well, I hope you enjoyed the video and we see each other in the next one. Goodbye!